I'm Bullish. It's Friday and we're live with you. Generally, the market is a bit down today. But there are two altcoins showing some bullish breakout patterns. Now, generally, I've been seeing bullish technical patterns across many altcoins. However, these two, I want to dive deeper into them and show you what I'm seeing. Also, we'll take a look at a third that has broken the downtrend it's been in since January, and probably its low is already in as it's been heading higher since the 11th of April. Also, let's get into some relevant news today to wrap up the week. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel. I'm your host, Jay Rain. If you like money and crypto, and you're looking for a real investor take on the crypto market, join the Rainmaker family. You can do that as simply as liking this video and subscribing with the all notifications bell enabled. If you want to go the next step, join our Telegram community. It's free. The link is below. Special note, I'm not a financial advisor. I am a crypto investor myself, sharing with you how I think about the crypto market, specific cryptos I like. Now, I've only been in the crypto space for 4.5 years. Prior to that, I was an investor in real estate and other stuff for 20 years. Also note that I do own or plan to own most of what I talk about on this channel because I am an investor myself, and I don't talk about crypto projects that I don't believe in, and those I do, I invest in. Makes sense? Special thanks to our Patreon members. We do have a private Discord that our Patreon members get access to. There is a link below to our Patreon if it's of interest to you. Shout out to Sarah Wallach, who just became a Patreon member. And if you have any problems connecting up to the Discord, let our admins know and we will get you connected up. Sarah, we do a pre-live stream for those that are in our Patreon. And we just got done doing ours today because it's Friday. Now, often in the beginning, it says that this is sponsored content. And that's because of our strategic relationship with Wanchain, who have been good to us. And they give us 500 Wan every month to give away to the audience. We'll be giving away some Wanchain today. So make it rain on that like button and strap in for this show. Let's welcome our producer, D Money.
Hey, what up, Jay? How's it going today, man?
Good.
It's Friday. I'm saying, hey, Ferris Youssef. Second like. We appreciate it. Let's get some more likes in there. And our buddy Chris Ashby, what's going on, Chris? Happy Friday to you as well, and to all the Rainmakers in the audience. It's so good to be live, man. It's I like the shorter videos. We talked about this last week, but yeah, no, there's something about it being live. It's super fun.
I love the family that's really coming together, and I always hope to create a group of like-minded individuals that we get rid of the toxicity and we analyze things from an analytical perspective. And that my hope was we could attract an audience of smart people who actually have good analysis too. And the Telegram and the Discord has absolutely become that. And I love it. And a lot of our Telegram family and even Discord family joins in for the live streams. And so a lot of us know each other pretty well. And I'm really loving how that is coming together.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, yeah, let's go ahead. Let's start the party. We haven't done that for a while.
Let's do it. Join me, Rainmakers. That music is catchy. So it's Friday, and the crypto market is generally down. Bitcoin is back to 40,400. Oh my gosh, we're all going to die. Not really. Most altcoins are down, but I want to share with you a few charts that are looking very bullish to me. Then we're going to look at some news on the exchange traded funds realm and where we are with that. So let's take a look at generally the market. Here is a bigger chart, and I like this one called the Brave New Coin Liquid Index on TradingView. And we see some interesting stuff. Look at how Bitcoin has actually been respecting this lower trend line. Now, it broke out above this upper trend line. It came back down below it, back to this one. And it's actually right on the culmination of where these two are intersecting. My guess is it breaks up from here, but this isn't the bullish chart that I was excited to share with you. The bullish chart that I was excited to share with you is this one. This is Freeway Token, and we have been following this one a lot lately. In fact, we just did a video on Freeway Token. If you haven't watched it, perhaps D, after this is recorded, can put up a link. But for those of you that are live, we just did a big video on why I like this one and what the platform offers and the use case of the token that really can drive the prices to hit a lot higher. And it's interesting, when the price first came out, it launched on TrustSwap, I think, way back here, just before the end of the year. And it rose steadily and hit about 2.5 cents. And then it crashed back down and realized that there was a lot of tokens that went to pre-sale investors. This is a way that projects fund themselves. And so probably, I think all those pre-sale tokens have completely vested. So there's not the downward price pressure. Some of the ecosystem tokens have vested to the team, which I believe they haven't been selling, that they have put them in the platform themselves. There's a lot of reasons to believe it, because I think over 85% of the total tokens that are in the circulating supply are actually staked on their platform. And that's very bullish. That means there's not very much left to be traded. That means the supply to be able to sell is fairly low. And with a little bit of buy pressure, this can go crazy. And what's interesting is the market is generally down, but Freeway token is not. In fact, it was recently at these lows at 0.78 cents. And it's trading 2.5x of that right now, right? So it frequently went up to almost 2 cents and it came back down. But if you were to draw this out, so there was this trend that it was following, and it broke out from there. It came back down to these previous support levels here, but still outside this trend. It did not go to lower lows. It hit these bottoms, bounced up from there, and it's once again attempting to break through this really strong support that you see. Wicks have gone out above this before, but then they've come right back down into the zone. So here it did the same thing and it wicked up. Here it broke up and it's actually sitting right about that point, but it's had 3 solid attempts. And in those attempts, pushed through them briefly. This is already look at how it's already wider than what we're generally seeing. And I expect this is the time that it breaks out upward. Now, I hold a lot of Freeway token. I just entered some more, a lot more. How much? I think I added another 1/4 to my position of what I have. And one of the things I like about it is you can put it on their platform and stake it. And right now they're paying 5% rewards on it. But over time, that'll increase to as much as 15 to 30% staking rewards. It's a lot more complex on how those rewards work. That's why I didn't give more specifics, but watch that other video for more specifics on how this works with those. But that incentive is fairly new. And so I had a whole bunch of my tokens just sitting there on wallets, and I sent them into the platform. Not all of them. I still have some in some wallets that I'll probably send over to the platform and stake it, because those rewards are going to get really juicy really soon. And 5% is okay. That's nothing to laugh at. That's a lot better than what banks are paying. But as it gets to 15 and 30%, that is really amazing. And I imagine the price will go crazy. And we're seeing this breakout. I mean, that's exciting news. It's broke out above. It's come back and retested. This is often the point on this retest, that it then continues the breakout to the upside. Another one that has broken out is SHOPX. Now, this trend, it broke out above, it's come back down in, but this is what I want to show you, because this looks like, oh, it's going down from here, and it might a little bit, but notice something. Every time you're seeing a lower low, except this time, higher low. What does that indicate? Indicates the bottom is in. And so what is likely to happen, and we just deal on probabilities as investors, we don't know. We don't have a magic crystal ball. So we're always looking at probabilities. But this higher low is really, really bullish news. And what often happens is we call this a W, but key for it being a W is a higher low here. And that shows you that the bears couldn't push down the price as far as they could before, which means there's more bulls out there than bears. And so what often happens is it hits a resistance line, and it bounced off that resistance to the downside, but there's still that bullish pressure pushing things up. And then it'll often break out above this. Now, what often will happen is it will retest a previous high like this, and then it will come back down and touch this median line of where the middle of that W was before it then shoots off to the races. So watch this one closely. I did just add a bunch to my position on this. We covered it on our technical or price analysis with Paul on Thursday. And I said specifically, well, I'm waiting for it to break to the upside or break to the downside from the trend that it was in. And as it broke to the upside, I was like, yeah, that's bullish. And so I bought some more. Now, I would love nothing more than to have this break down again back down to these prices, because I don't know about you. I would much rather pay like 10 cents over paying 13 cents, right? So watch for this price to do really well. Now, specifically, this is SHOPX. For those of you who haven't followed, so I didn't cover, I don't know, did we cover this one with Paul? I don't remember. This one's been on my mind a lot lately. I am reaching out to the team to see if I can get them for an interview. Did you remember, did we cover SHOPX with Paul?
I mean, we didn't this week. I know that. I feel like we have, but it's been some weeks.
Been a few weeks.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it recently. Like I remember you wanting to buy it when it was.
When
it was back in February, I want to say.
Yeah,
you were hoping.
Did this huge pump right here, right? And I don't buy when these things happen, because often this happens. And sure enough, it did. So I added my positions to my position. But this one, really, really bullish on. And when I say it broke out by setting a higher low here. It came back and retested this, so it hasn't broken this, but it did break this. And this is a huge indicator that's bullish. Now, we'll see how that goes. We haven't had them on the channel before, but we do have a connection to them, and see if we can bring the CEO or somebody from their executive level team on the channel. This one I've been very bullish on for a very long time, since they launched, but I don't buy highs. I was able to get a tiny bit of this in the IDO, the initial DEX offering, I think about $200 worth, and that $200 went to about 17,000. Now that $200 is probably worth about $80, because I think it's below IDO prices. But because the way the tokenomics work, a lot of times there's a lot of negative pressure pushing the price down as tokens are vested to the pre-sale investors and some of the IDO investors. They get all their tokens and they sell them, and all of a sudden that pre-sale pressure runs out, and all of a sudden the buy pressure is able to push it up. And we're seeing that in the charts with some very positive news. And so SHOPX is absolutely one to look at. Move all those drawings so you can once again see the charts, and notice how this tends to run in big things. This is why we don't chase green candles. I did put one when it broke, was breaking out here. I put one order in. I put in another order as it broke lower. I'm hoping it drops back down somewhere near these levels again, and I will put in one more buy order while it's nice and boring, because I like to buy when the price action is boring. I don't like it when it's really exciting like this, unless I see a clear breakout. And it is a little bit of a breakout, but it came back in to this trading pattern. Another one that receives an honorable mention. I know we said we had two, but this is Omi, and I want to show you what's exciting about this. So they were at these levels here, and they were trading in the sideways trading pattern, and they hit this almost 0.8 cent price 3 times, and they did not break through, and it got rejected, and it broke down tremendously. Now, a lot of people got frustrated because some things with the project were taking longer than investors thought that they would. When it started to break down, some people clearly then panic sold. That's okay. I have a lot that I've been accumulating during this whole period here. I did get some near the bottom down here. I bought some more during all this period. Then I actually did buy some more here because it came up and was retesting this, and I thought there was a strong chance it would break through. It did not, and that sometimes happens, and that's okay. And so while it's been down, I've absolutely loaded up on a whole bunch. In fact, I doubled my whole position that I had while it's been down here, because it's been so cheap relative, right? I'm not unhappy with this buy. Of course, there's a part of you that's like, man, I could have got it for a third the price down here. And that's true. That's why I doubled my position down here. Now, I did just look at the total number I hold this morning. I'm disappointed. I thought it was higher than it is. So I'll probably add even more to my position. So, because I'm really happy with these prices. And when we get this kind of gift that where prices do go down on a project that you're really, really interested in, even if you have a lot of your portfolio in it, I tend to get excited. How you choose to react to it is really up to you, but I get excited as this second chance to get it really, really low prices, because I know when this thing hits where it's going, right? I really like the team behind this and where the project is going. I love their collectibles. They have some of the best intellectual property rights for collectibles out there in the whole market. Some of the biggest brands, Disney, Marvel, Batman, just you name it, and they have some of the biggest brands on it, and their collectible quality is really, really high. Another one that's worth mentioning is Cardano. And why it's not breaking up today, it's actually gone lower today. But why is it worth a mention? Now, I drew out this pattern a little bit. And what I love from Cardano that we're seeing is a higher low. Look at that. So the momentum to the downside has been slowing down. And so watch this. My belief is it's going to follow kind of like what I've drawn out here and complete this W pattern as it hits this. Doesn't always do this, but often will break back down, retest this line, and then off to the races. So I know some people are feeling exhausted by how down the market's been, especially if you've been in for 3-month period, which means you might have came in around the Metaverse pump, or perhaps you've been here for a year and you came in during the March of last year's pump when things February, March, and April went absolutely crazy, and then they retraced. What I like about the crypto market is that you have such big swings. Now, any market has swings. They're very big in crypto, and really you don't always have to wait that long from buying when it's low, or when I call it boring, because the market does get very boring when everything's low like that. And that is when I like to buy. And then when it gets really exciting and everybody's coming in and it just seems like, oh my gosh, my portfolio is going up by 20% a day, and that happens, that's when I'm taking profits out. That's not when I'm loading up and buying. Now, I know that's contrary to what most people are doing. That's exactly why it works. My mentor in real estate investing, he said, if I were to boil down what I do, it's as simple as find out what 95% of people are doing, and I do the opposite. And it's true. That works really, really well in crypto, and that's helped my portfolio go from thousands to millions in just the past 3 years. Now, I did have some experience prior to crypto. I've been in crypto 4.5 years, and I had been doing regular investing for 20 years prior to that, and that really helped. It helped me understand those principles, that I don't want to be doing what everyone else is doing. Is everyone else buying ADA and OMI and SHOPX and Freeway Token right now? No, they are not. Should they be? Well, that's up to them. I can't give them financial advice. I like to buy when it's boring. And then when it gets really exciting and the full vision comes together and people can finally understand what's supposed to happen, by then the price has gone 5x or 20x or 100x. And that's when I'm selling, not when I'm buying. Sure, that makes sense to you. Though you might not hear that in cryptocurrency YouTube channels very much. I try to share this contrarian approach. It is the channel, or we try to be the channel that I wish I had when I was new to crypto. And I turned to YouTube and some to Twitter and some other stuff on the internet to try to keep updated, because there aren't any books that are really updated on cryptocurrency. The best information actually often comes through Twitter or YouTube or other social media, because it's very time sensitive and it dates very quickly. What the market looks like 2 months from now will be very different. And so that's where you get daily, very quick content. All right, let's look at, so let me check the chat, see what's going on. Everyone, any chats that stood out to you?
Nothing really. There's a lot of people who are. One comment that I really liked was "Gut Back to Nature." Our buddy, he just said these Fridays feel extra special, and that's a good way of looking at it, right? I was talking about like, man, it's kind of a drag not to go live so often, but like, but yeah, it is exciting to be here. Cloud Macro asked, "What's new from Wanchain?" Yeah, I wonder if you want to
You
address
have
that.
two new bridges going live, right? And we shared some information last Friday on what those two new bridges are. At least we shared. You had to guess either one of the two bridges, and somebody guessed one of the two. So congratulations. That was Glimmer or Moonbeam. Glimmer is their token. So they have a bridge from Wanchain to Moonbeam, and they continue to build these trustless bridges connecting up all these different chains. And I really like what they're doing. I mean, I remember when they launched in 2017, it was a pre-sale. It was an ICO. It was super exclusive, so hard to get into. And their token went all the way up to $10 at the highs of 2018. And so now it's trading about 50 cents or 95% discount from the price of the previous highs. They've continued to actually deliver on what their vision was. They talked about cross-chain compatibility and connecting up all the chains in a trustless way. And they've actually done and been doing exactly what they promised on, which is why when we spoke to them and they wanted to do a strategic partnership, my answer was hell yes. I'm an investor in Wanchain. I have been for about 3 years. I'm a big believer in their long term. So that's some good news. What's going on with Wanchain? Nespo says, Rain, what's your prediction for the Elsa Veve NFT? I don't know on that one. I have one. I was lucky on the drop. I got mint number 42. And if you know the Veve ecosystem, the first 40 mints are reserved for the team. And so that was, we all get a turn at luck if we try enough, right? And that was my turn at luck. I wasn't lucky on even some of the other drops on getting anything at all. Even back then when you could get stuff before the bots came in. And if you've been following them recently, they've kicked out all the bots or found to track most of them and gotten them out. So you can actually get cool stuff on the drops again, which is exciting. But I think the golden moments, that one, if I were to guess, probably 50 to 100,000. And I know that's a long ways away from where they're trading now. Where are they going for, D? Do you know they're about $1,000?
Yeah, something like that. I haven't checked in a while. Actually, I have one of the Elsas as well. It's the very first Disney princess on the blockchain. Yeah. And, could it have been Cinderella? Could it have been Snow White? Some of the, more classic princesses. Yeah, and I don't know if that would have been better or worse. Frozen is obviously a huge a huge film, huge success in the Disney world. So I think it'll do well. But yeah, I mean, it was up around 4,200 at one point. I think that's as high as I ever saw it. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what it does. But yeah, I mean, first princess on the blockchain, I think is a big deal.
What's interesting about collectibles value is what you're waiting for is people that anchored on that collectible for their incomes to grow, right? So the reason like Star Wars collectibles do so well is that a lot of people that grew up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s with Star Wars, well, now they have really high incomes. And so there's some nostalgia there and they love Star Wars. And so, they might be a doctor or a lawyer or a business owner or, a billionaire from business that they're like, oh yeah, 70,000 for that collectible. Sure. Oh, okay. 200,000 for it. No big deal. And so collectible can't do very well unless people have the money to buy it. So Elsa's demographic, because Elsa's a fairly new one, a lot of the people that were teenagers when it came out, and that was like their first big Disney movie that they fell in love with, absolutely fell in love with, you wait till their incomes rise. So it might be 5 or 10 or 15 years down the road before that one does exceptionally well, but probably will because, they did a great job with the movie. There's a lot of girls that I think looked up to Elsa and really liked that film and identified with her. So you're waiting for those girls to become women, which many of them are, but then for their incomes to rise where they're like, okay, yeah, 100,000 for that golden moment makes sense. And it also has to do with how well Ecomi's ecosystem continues to do down the road. And if Disney collectors turn to the Ecomi ecosystem. So there are some Disney collectors that are on it, but the percentage of actual Disney avid fans that are on Ecomi's or Veve's ecosystem right now, what would you guess, D? Is it even 1%?
No, not even. I mean, I I don't even know. I don't know what it would be. But yeah, I mean, it's yeah,
Because
not even
your
close.
friend, one of your best friends growing up, a super big Disney fan, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's what actually pushed him into Veve. But he had to have me talking about it to him. I'm trying to think when I first brought it up. I actually brought it up when I was in Disneyland. I think it was September, and the Golden Moments came out in what was it? It was early November, right? Something like that. So I had been talking to him about it for a couple of months,
Yeah.
and then he saw something about it, and it sparked something. So I mean, it takes more than just somebody seeing a tweet to really get them in. I think the first time.
It takes at least 7 to 10 touches, really. And it takes them missing out on some things, really, before people get in. I've just seen that human tendency. It took me missing out on Bitcoin's big gains when I first heard about it, and it was going for about $10. And then it went to $100, and then it retraced from there. And somebody explained to me Bitcoin all wrong. So I was like, oh, yeah, well, if you can just mine endless amounts of it, then there's no supply shortage. So it'll go to zero over time because you can just put your computer to work mining it, which they said, oh, yeah, what it does is it puts a whole bunch of strings together and makes you a Bitcoin after time. That is not what happens at all. And so I was like, well, then why is there value? If just everyone starts doing that, then they'll make a bunch of Bitcoin and there's no supply. There's an endless supply, which isn't true at all. So for things to go up in value, there has to be higher demand than there is supply. Really helps if that supply is somewhat fixed. And with Bitcoin, it definitely is. With these golden moment statues, the supply on these individual collectibles are fixed. In fact, my understanding is that these are the golden moments from the actual Disney park, and eventually there won't be any more golden moments, right? So maybe they create different versions of them, but if they don't, then it's just these golden moments for the rest of time. I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. It's always a risk in investing, and you're trying to make the best guesses based on the information that you have. Throw in a lot of patience, hopefully buying it when it's low and not when the hype gets high, and then you're selling when the hype does get high and the prices go crazy. Let's get into some news on ETFs because this is interesting. I like the approach Grayscale is taking on this. Grayscale, frustrated by the repeated denials of its ETF, Grayscale is considering suing the SEC in an administrative procedures lawsuit. Now, this is a special note. I know our knee-jerk reaction to criminal behavior is to ask for more regulation, right? There's a lot of corruption. There's scams in cryptocurrency. There are. Absolutely. There are a freaking lot of them. We even see ones come across like all the time. Like that's why it's important to find credible sources. But some altcoin projects are totally a scam. There's all kinds of like, send us this much Bitcoin and we'll double your Bitcoin percentage. That never works out. So there's tons of scams. So we're like, we need more regulation. Okay. Do we really? Does it lead to your intended consequence of it? Or are there unintended consequences? Let me share with you unintended consequences. See, there was a big idea when this whole initial public offering and stocks really took off in the United States in the early 1910s through 1920, right? And they called that the golden era. And there was this huge boom and all this money coming in. Like, stocks will just go up for forever. So people were borrowing to buy stocks, and then the stock prices crashed and a lot of people got wrecked. And they're like, we need regulation to protect the average person. That's usually our knee-jerk reaction. How does that work out? Well, the unintended consequence is that often the biggest companies get in bed with the regulators. The SEC seems to have banking interests strongly in mind, and that is why they have been fighting against the tide of crypto. Why? They're protecting those that they regulate and those that they know, and they stifle innovation. So if you think that the SEC is really there to protect the consumer, maybe. I mean, a lot of the people who work there might be well-intended individuals, but consider that they just settled with Celsius Network, which is a crypto project. Hopefully you're familiar with it, but maybe not. What criminal behavior could Celsius have been up to? Well, the terrible crime of paying non-accredited U.S. investors up to 10% on their cryptocurrency. That is freaking terrible. You mean if you deposited Cardano on their platform, you could actually get more Cardano on the platform? That is terrible that they would allow non-accredited investors to do that. That is a crime. Thank heavens for regulation, right? And regulators. See, this is what regulators often do, because think of regulators as bureaucracy. And there are people that might be making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a year, and they might even be well-intentioned. They're like, we don't know about this cryptocurrency thing. We know that there's a scam, and Celsius Network, they're paying interest on cryptocurrencies. We got to stop that. So the SEC settled to them to just disallow non-accredited investors receiving returns on their deposit coins. In other words, if you have a net worth where you fall in the category of accredited investor because you have over $1 million in assets, not including your home, or over $200,000 a year income over 2 years, I think that's the criteria in the US to become an accredited investor, then you can have the privilege of putting your stable coins like USDT or USDC on Celsius Network and get a return on it. But if not, you're poor and you're trying to make more money on your money. Well, sorry, we're protecting you from that because we can't have any of that. So way to go, SEC. Great freaking job. Way to protect the little guy. You guys are amazing. And we have often suspected that the true goal of the SEC was to protect the lower class from becoming the upper class. We don't want that to be true, but you're making it so hard with moves like this for us to believe that. So with that in mind, Vanguard made a very interesting discussion. Now, ETFs are going to happen. There's enough political pressure going this way. The politicians are going to push the regulators to make this happen. The question is when. But Vanguard made a very interesting decision. Vanguard to end support for Grayscale, Bitcoin, and Ethereum products. Now, maybe because they're going to come out like with their own types of products like Fidelity just did. I don't know. I don't know why this comes in. Vanguard notified clients today that it would be halting its support for over-the-counter securities. This means that both Grayscale Bitcoin Trust and Grayscale Ethereum Trust will no longer be available for purchase within Vanguard's system. That's interesting. Grayscale has an open application with the SEC to turn GBTC into a Bitcoin spot ETF, which is exactly what this article is about. This, like, hey, you know, they're not protecting people's interests by disallowing this because this pushes them towards riskier investments rather than this, which will be a less risky option. So we'll see what a judge decides on that, because if they do so sue them, it's going to go before a judge. And then the SEC has to make the case how they're really protecting people when I don't believe that they are. And so it'd be interesting to see what the judge rules on that. It depends on the judge. All right. This is interesting. Fidelity launching 2 new thematic exchange traded funds and 5 fixed income sustainable funds and ETFs, which will offer investors exposure to the cryptocurrency and metaverse industries. Notice these aren't altcoins that they're holding. The new funds will be available on or around April 21st for individual investors and financial advisors to purchase commission-free, through Fidelity's online brokerage platforms. The Fidelity Crypto Industry and Digital Payments ETF will invest at least 80% of its assets in equity securities, including Fidelity's crypto industry. In other words, they'll be investing in companies, not like in the Decentraland token, but maybe in the company behind Decentraland or other companies that are working in that industry that they can buy equity in the companies with. So they're still not cryptocurrencies you can buy in an ETF, but this does give investors exposure to the industry in a way that's in line with what Fidelity is able to do. I would say this is a good move on Fidelity's part. I like this news bit. Now, Final Fantasy is pushing forward with blockchain integration. I never did play Final Fantasy. I wrote off video games for about 12 years of my life as I put my head down and worked like 110-hour weeks. So I while I was going to school, I came from a relatively poor family. So I worked like 3 jobs while going to school. I was married, had a kid, and if you're wondering why my hair is thin, that's a big part of the reason. So I missed these years when Final Fantasy dominated the gaming space, and their following is absolutely huge. They are also a perfect name to really do a great title in the blockchain space that is really a game, but the assets are on blockchain, and hopefully tradable. Now, many gamers really pushed back against NFTs in their games. I mean, Call of Duty was talking about doing some NFTs, and a lot of like avid gamers like, no. Now, I'm curious as to why that might be. Perhaps they see some of the projects that launch, which require you to buy like $1,000 or higher NFTs in order to be able to play to earn. Perhaps they're thinking that's what will happen, and that's why they've been so against it, because it doesn't make sense to me unless they're making their decisions based on less than perfect information. Because I don't see how you're against NFTs in games. Because right now, all you have is 100% trap value. So if you earn stuff on Call of Duty and you get this super rare ultra weapon from your box that maybe you paid $30 for the box or the loot crate, and you get that, you can do nothing with it except use it and show off your bling to your friends. But you can't sell it. It's not. So you don't own that asset. So why would you fight against a system that would allow you to own that asset and make it sellable if you're a gamer? Especially if you can earn cool stuff and then sell it. Why would you be against that? That doesn't make sense to me unless they're getting only part of the story. So curious as to why they're making that decision. Now, what blockchain gaming actually looks like in the future isn't going to be, hey, in order to play to earn on this game, you got to buy this NFT, which is just the common version for $1,200, or buy this one that's $5,000, which is a rare version, or buy this one for $50,000 that's an ultra rare version, so you can earn more money for the same amount of gameplay. That's probably not what blockchain gaming looks like in the future. What it looks like is probably a lot like gaming looks like now, but with assets that you actually own and can trade and sell and even extract your money from the system. My guess is a lot of successful games will be completely free to play, but that you can earn some stuff. And there will also be the ability to buy from the store some things, buy from other players some things. And that's what blockchain gaming looks like, is really high quality games where you just can own the assets. So I think it's very smart of Square Enix to push through with blockchain gaming, because I believe the marketplace will reward them heavily for it if they deliver a great Final Fantasy and it's blockchain enabled, which I call the ownership society, where you actually own what you get in games. Speaking of owning what you get in games, Devio's Glassblock went live today. Now they will have the marketplace for LitCraft Land, or they have it, and we've got the marketplace open here. This is glassblock.io, and on it you can buy LitCraft land chests, lit pets, and other game items on it, as well as the Mindchill stunning NFTs, which we've covered in the past. I'll show them in a second, as well as great integration with the Coinbase app that allows you to pay with crypto with your MetaMask or any of 7 different supported cryptocurrencies. So you don't have to have a Coinbase account. It is an app created by Coinbase that allows you to interact with your MetaMask wallet in order to fund with USDT, USDC, ETH. You can even fund with Bitcoin, and I forget what the other supported assets are. What's amazing is that Glassblock shows off Devio's multi-shard technology. Now, we've covered Devio in the past year. In fact, we had Tom, the CEO, come on last year. Devio's blockchain can do transactions per second that no other blockchain can do. They can do up to like 4 million transactions per second. Crazy fast numbers. Now, what's interesting is this Glassblock interacts with their different shards. So the items for LitCraft are on their own shard. The Mindchill Guardians are on a different shard. So let me go to Mindchill Guardians here. Okay, let me just go make sure. Okay, I want to look for Mindchill Guardians. There we go. So these are the Mindchill Guardians. They're on a fully different shard altogether, as well as they have a shard for ESG carbon offset credits that will be on their own shard. And yet Glassblock can integrate them all seamlessly. So you can have one login and be able to keep track of all your assets on any of their shards. Really, really cool what they've done. Excited to see where this is going. So this just went live today, as well as their game went live today. So you can go to litcraft.io, and I've covered this in the past. Now, it is the most advanced play to earn game that is out there that I've seen, and it is now live and persistent. Now, I don't know if we're at a place that we can list the items that we can earn, but now that it's persistent, meaning if you earn items through playing the game, and you can go to litcraft.io, go to download it, it's free to play, that you can then, when the marketplace interacts with the items that you can then put on there, you can actually make money by earning some items in the game and then selling them. So the alpha version has been out there for a while, and technically this is still the beta version, but it will be persistent so that you can earn items, I believe sell them, but what you have in the game you'll be able to keep. And so that's what I've been looking for, is persistence and the complexity of what they allow in all these crafting items. If you compare what Axie Infinity can do as far as the simplicity of Axie Infinity and the limited things that you can do compared to all the different aspects of LitCraft, LitCraft is miles ahead of where Axie Infinity is in the complexity of all the different things that you can do. You can battle your different team of lit pets that you can mine and create and gather and make yourself and breed. You can then battle them. You can take the starter ones that they'll give you to allow you to play, but then you can craft better ones. It's really exciting that this is coming together, and it launched today, so it is now live. This was an interesting one. I guess before we get to that, let me jump over to this one. Have you been keeping track of the Elon Musk's bid to buy Twitter? Boy, that's been interesting. Why it's been so controversial has been crazy. When you offer a company 50%, or you offer 50% higher than what the market price is on stuff, that should have been a no-brainer for the board. It is really malfeasance from the current board to not be looking for ways to make this offer happen. If they turn down the offer without accepting a better offer, actually the state of Florida, I heard, announced, because their pension fund owns Twitter stock in it, that they'll be suing the board of Twitter because the board of Twitter doesn't seem to be acting in the best interest. Nonetheless, this hits the crypto market because in the latest, Charles Hoskinson tweeted Elon Musk to offer to help him create a decentralized Twitter if they reject his offer to buy it. Now, it was fun reading through on the Twitter thread of this, and there were a bunch of people that were like commenting, oh yeah, it would take Cardano 5 years to have academics plan it all out before then building it, which, okay, that is a funny joke, but it is missing the entire picture of Cardano, because Cardano did take like 5 years to really build, and they had a bunch of white paper or a bunch of research papers planned out so that they could prove mathematically that their systems to create it would work. And it was a very slow, painstaking approach with lots of delays. But building a blockchain that could handle millions of transactions per second, that could handle the load the world could put on it, such as a decentralized Twitter, that required coming up with solutions that at the time no one had ever thought of, like building an extremely strong foundation for a skyscraper you're going to build up. Up to 80% of that development time can be underground, because if that isn't developed right, the skyscraper can fall. Like if you build something, and even if you build a decent foundation, but you don't plan it out right, like Ethereum, where it can only handle 15 transactions per second, as it gets massive usage, it's like having a skyscraper with one elevator on it. It's not what it feels like using the Ethereum system. So I know that they took the long, painful approach of planning it all out. So that is so that then once their foundation is done, they can add things like a decentralized Twitter, and it's not a big deal, and it doesn't take very long to happen. So people make fun of Cardano, I get it, but I do suspect it will be Charles Hoskinson who gets the last laugh in the coming decade as the ADA ecosystem becomes a massive, because they took that time to build that skyscraper right. Speaking of blockchains that were competing for this, Tron is trying to create an algorithmic stablecoin, which they plan to be like Terra's UST, and is planning on raising $10 billion for a reserve fund. I'm not that bullish on Tron personally, and maybe there's something I'm missing there, and I haven't been bullish on it even when it was at highs back in 2017, 2018. I did look at what I missed on that because I had just come into space in October, and I missed some really good gains as Tron caught some momentum. Now, one of the advantages of Tron is very fast transaction speeds. it doesn't have a lot of breadth of carrying a lot of information and having a lot of capabilities that some of these other third generation blockchains have. And so I just don't see it going anywhere long term. So though this is interesting and they're planning on raising this, and I thought I would bring it up, Tron is not high on my interest list personally. Now, interesting article here. Terra's algorithmic dollar-pegged crypto UST is now the third largest stablecoin. They just passed Binance USD or BUSD, and it's really interesting to see where this goes. Now, for those of you who haven't been around in crypto for like 4 years now, I've seen some algorithmic stablecoins come and go. Eventually, they lose their peg to the dollar, and then they just disintegrate after that. And UST has some special things about it. I would love to see UST be successful because there's some things that algorithmically try to keep it that peg good. And what's cool about the team behind it is they've taken money and they bought Bitcoin as a reserve so that they have funds to help keep that peg should it be undergoing some price pressure. So I really like their decision to back it by Bitcoin reserves to the tune of 10 billion was their goal. I don't know where they are on that 10 billion purchase. I know for a while they were purchasing like 150 million a day or something in Bitcoin, but it's really cool where that one is going. All right, I want to jump over to the chat section, see where you're all at. Thank you, 158 beats. We love you too. Jester's Rune. Looking forward to telling friends and family I told you so. Yeah, right. It does feel good. My family did not listen to me at all in 2018, 2019. I was lone man in the wilderness there. Thoughts on Star Atlas and Drive for a long-time investment? Thanks. Let's take a look at Star Atlas's price. Now, they have been out of the hype cycle for a long time, and that's what gets my attention. Drife, we're actually having, we're supposed to have this upcoming week, an interview with the CEO again for Dosh. I think I'm saying the last part of that right. Fantastic CEO. She's very, very bright. We had her on like 9 months ago when the project was new and launching. So it'd be fun to have an updated call with her. Drife is a decentralized Uber, essentially. And they're really making ground in India and some other place in the world where taxis have dominated. And that I think Uber and Lyft and other companies are competing in those markets too. But they are offering cheaper fares for the riders and higher pay for the drivers. So they've been getting good traction, at least the last update I had from the team, which was several months ago. So Star Atlas's price, let's take a look at it. Oh, yes. That's much, much more attractive, right? So then they actually have two tokens. What is the name of their other token? I believe they have two tokens. Yeah. Now, Star Atlas is a AAA level game. That's a space type of game, which I love space types of games. Like one of my favorites of all times is EVE Online. And so this is kind of like EVE Online crossed with Star Citizen, which is a game that's been in alpha and beta level for years now, and it's been in development for like 8 years. So this type of game that Star Atlas is developing takes a long time to do. But I like to buy when it's boring. And at 20 cents, it was not very boring. At 2 cents, it's much more attractive. I'm still looking for a little bit more drop, but FTX, Gate.io, MEXC Global. Okay, these are the markets that you can buy them on. FTX, Gate.io, MEXC. So, yeah, now I don't know that that's hit a bottom pattern. Let me show you what I'm looking at. Okay, so the low here is 2.3 cents, and it actually hit the same low. So if this continues down a little bit, this will actually be a lower low than before, which is a sign that maybe this ends up being the bottom. But what I would have liked to see here is a low here, and then a higher low here showing signs that it was turning the other direction. And that's not what has happened here. That doesn't mean it can't then go higher. It means the probability is that it's going to go even lower. Maybe it then puts in a little bit of a high, comes back for a higher low, never quite comes back to this price, and then it's off to the races. And that could happen. Let's look at its market cap, 50 million. Its circulating supply is still just a fraction of the total supply. So realize that there's probably some vesting that's going to continue to happen that puts downward price pressure on that. So I would be careful of that. I would have to look at their token vesting schedule to know what that vesting schedule looks like, because that's 1/18 or only 5% of the supply is in circulation. Their fully diluted valuation is 827 million. That's not terrible for a fully diluted market cap. Not for a project of this size, but I do suspect it'll get cheaper. Drife, I like the price action. I did buy some more. So notice this long, boring period, right? And so these lows went as high as as low as 0.34 cents. And even when it hit this low here, it didn't quite go as low. So we're seeing a little bit of a higher low. That doesn't mean it can't go down from here. Just means it's trading to get a higher low here. So that's usually a turnaround sign. That's why I added in more Drife recently. I don't think I caught the bottom. I think I bought it somewhere in here. That's okay. You know, trying to time the bottom is really, really difficult. Doesn't always happen. All right. Love how many people know each other in the chat.
Jay, there's a couple. So
yeah,
a couple people have been saying, Suresh brought up POLIS, and then
POLIS, I think, is their other token.
Yeah, well, it says it's the Star Atlas DAO as well.
Yeah, this is the more interesting token to me between the two. Still only a fraction of their supply in circulation, just a fraction. But I would be more interested in their DAO token. Okay, so it's got a higher low so far. See, this is a little more attractive, right? So it hit a low of $1.38. Let me just check on a smaller time frame. Okay, $1.36, and it stayed higher this time. And their market cap is 32 million. Fully diluted market cap 542 million. This is more interesting because I believe the other token is earnable through the game, right? So that's going to put more tokens out there in circulation. Oh, all right. So I guess I did get the queue for NFL all day. I don't know if you guys were in the queue for those special packs, but I'm going to buy one. We'll see if I get anything good. I just noticed I had to start the queue right as we were starting the video, right?
So can you buy one right now? Let's bring it on the screen.
I am buying one right now. Payment is pending. So I had some funds already loaded into my Dapper wallet. And so, yeah. I just noticed it popped up. Thanks, I didn't miss it. I would have. All right, let's claim and open. Let's see if anything good comes out. Confirm. Let's see what this pack looks like.
And this is the first one where they're doing some older moments. I don't know. Has NBA Top Shot done some of these classic packs? I haven't seen that.
I haven't paid close attention to NBA Top Shots. I invest a lot in like the first season that came out, right? And a little bit in the second season that came out. But beyond that, it's not that there aren't moments that won't do as well. It's just generally they won't do as well. And so that's why NFL All Day has had a lot of attention for me, because it's season 1 that they're doing, right? So also UFC Strike. They've already done, like, they made some big mistakes on their very, very first season in that they released them weird. They had like 45,000 common moments, like of each one, which was a ridiculously high number of the commons for each of those moments. They didn't have any big stars that I'm aware of in season 1. So let's open that pack, see what we got. Let's go. All right. Well, darn, when you hover over them, that tells you, see the fact that they're all white? That is not great news. That means none of them were like the special, amazing one. Donald Driver, which D, you know way more about U.S. football than I do. So I have no idea.
It doesn't even ring a bell for me. Packers, it looks like he's a receiver probably. Dante Culpepper, yeah, he was a bigger quarterback for the Vikings back in the day. Let's see the moment play out. Looks pretty cool.
Good moment.
It's a nice little catch.
I want the one where the dude like flips into the end zone.
Yeah.
Right? That was a historic moment. I think I caught that on the news. And Randall Cunningham. All right.
Another.
I like that. I remember him. Well, what an arm. Oh my gosh.
Wow, that's like 60 yards in the air almost.
Oh my gosh, what an arm.
I should be trying.
I'm happy with that moment. I'll take it. Oh, round number 1,100 out of 9,000. Okay.
We should be doing like play-by-play. Javon Walker. I'll do play-by-play. You do color. He hands the ball. Oh, fakes the handoff. He rolls out to his left. He's got
my gosh,
that guy.
Yes.
He's got Walker. It's a touchdown. Denver Broncos.
Don't you love it when you watch like international football, right? Like soccer. Goal for like 5 minutes. Goal. Right? It's so fun. I love that. All right. Nice. Okay. So shoot, I was shooting for that one, but I'm really happy with some of these names, right? I've heard these two before. So cool. A little bit of diversion that came in. Hopefully, if some of you guys got some that you had better luck than me. The truth is, my luck on packs doesn't tend to be all that great. I mean, I got really lucky on that Elsa collectible that I got mint number 42. One of our community members got mint number 42 on the Disney partner statue, which I didn't even get lucky enough to get one on the drop. So I'm super happy for them, though. Couldn't have happened to a nicer person. And that thing is worth a freaking fortune. So Chris Ashby says you got that Lions game. Totally worth it. Cool. I don't even know which one was the Lions game. I wish I knew more about football, but the truth is I just don't follow sports all that much.
Hey, Jay, sorry, but Ryan S. just said, don't forget there's 2 packs per person. I don't know if you have that opportunity.
Oh, to buy another one?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Now it lets you replay opening it, but okay. Maybe they allow you to buy up to 2 packs, but I'm kind of stuck in the, okay. Probably allows you to buy up to 2, which means that there's a high supply. So the available supply, they had 56,000 of these available. So you did have a chance to get rare, which I didn't get any rare. It looks like you had a 1 in 4 chance of getting a rare out of there. You had a 1 in 100 chance of getting a legendary item, and then 10 of them would have ultimate items, 10 out of 56,000. So probably it'll let me get back into the queue and see if I want to buy, if it'll let me buy another one.
Yeah, that's what he said. You got to join the queue again. So
okay, join the queue. It looks like there are 31,000 people ahead of me. I'll try another pack.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
if
we'll
nothing
see,
else,
$84. I don't know that the price is going to be worth it. Dee and I were talking about the NFL AllDay packs before this and how the packs haven't ended up necessarily being worth it because the moments on the resale market have been so cheap now. But if you've been around the channel for a while, you know that I invested in the NBA Top Shots for the first season and that those did ridiculous numbers. I put about $1,100 into it. And at the top, everything I had was worth about $185,000. Now, it's not worth that anymore because the top was last March and things often retrace. So it's probably about at $30,000. I don't think anyone would complain, though, if they spent $1,100 and they didn't sell at the top, but it retraced on them and it was still up 25x from what they put into it, right? So isn't that what we're all looking for, is more of those? That's why I've been collecting the UFC Strike first series and the NFL AllDay first series. I know we're close to time. I wanted to get to MM Calisthenius question. Rain, do you think Freeway token can get similar price to Swissborg, even Celsius or Anchor base on their tokenomics? I'm hoping that it does a lot what Celsius did. Celsius did some incredible numbers. I'm very familiar with that. I remember Celsius when it was trading at like 3 cents and 2.5 cents. And I was like, I really like that CEO. I like what they're doing with Celsius Network, and you'll be able to hold your tokens on their platform and make a return, because what they do is they then take those and they loan them out to Binance and other big names for them to use as liquidity, and they share 80% of the profits that they make from that with you as an interest return, which makes perfect sense. For some reason, the SEC doesn't like that unless you're an accredited investor. Okay, so don't let the people who aren't yet rich make money on their money. So anyway, Celsius did incredible numbers, went from like 2.5 cents to like 30 or 50, went to 50 cents, then retraced to about 32 cents. I loaded up during that zone when it retraced because I missed the big green candles there. And then it went to $3 to $7. So I still got like 10 to 15x. I sold between 650 and then sold some more as it went down to like 5. And I didn't end up selling it perfectly at the top. And I just diversified out into other things because its market cap was so high. And I wanted to be in stuff that had good prospects that were a much lower market cap, that might see the kind of gains that Celsius had already had. And one of mine is that I like for that is Freeway token. So do I think so? I do think so. I think it can have really, really high gains. Now, it's no longer like when it retraced all the way to 0.8 cents. Or what was it? 8 cents. What's it at? 20 cents? Not 8 cents. 0.8.
Yeah, 0.8
trading
cents.
about, it's trading just under 2 cents now. I mean, that was an extremely attractive price. Even at 2 cents, I just bought some more at 1.9 cents, just so I had more numbers, even though I have a lot already. I like where its breakout is, so I bought some more recently, and I think it'll go up from here. Might go down some more first, and if so, I'll probably load up some more, because I think at least in the shorter or medium term, it does exceptionally well, and hopefully it crushes it in the long term. All right. I want to say in the audience, are you ready to be a rainmaker and join the Navy SEALs of crypto, level up your crypto game? You might say, I don't know, the channel doesn't have 1 million subscribers yet. And that is absolutely true. And we could have way, way more subscribers if we always talked about the coins that were super hot and had pumped 10x already. And we consciously don't do that, because as an investor first, I like to talk about things when I feel that they're undervalued and not talk about them when they were overvalued. Now, that often isn't what people who are new to crypto are searching for, and that's okay. There are endless channels to give those people lots of content on stuff that is now extremely overpriced. That's great. But isn't there room for a channel that focuses on when prices are low and not high? Isn't that what you're really looking for in a channel? Our goal is a community experiment in sharing my secrets I've used to go from thousands to millions myself in just the past 3 years. And that comes from 20 years experience prior as an investor, trying to do that in a way that's entertaining, not giving financial advice, just sharing with you what I'm interested, what I like, why I like it, the fundamentals behind why I like it, as well as share with you as much of the technical analysis as I can, but then bringing on Paul, who has 30 years experience on that. And we do those videos on Thursdays. Now, I do not have a background in YouTube or video production, but I do know that this contrarian approach, coupled with fundamental analysis, you add in a lot of patience, works very, very well over time. If you haven't already, consider that all notifications bell, and then just tune in when you see our videos pop up. We do videos most days of the week, and a Friday live stream at 11 a.m. Pacific time, and a Veve live stream Wednesday evenings at 7:30 p.m. Pacific with NFT expert Dr. of Stuff joining us, who has some of the best alpha in the Veve space. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Oh, hang on, Jay. Before you say it, yeah, I don't want to hear no rain, no gain until we've done this Wanchain giveaway.
All right. The first person, I like to reward those who are familiar with the project. The first person that can give us the name of the CMO, the team. In the past, we've done rewards for who was the CEO, and the first person to give us the name of the CMO from Wanchain is our winner for today.
Remember once? Yeah, we need some Jeopardy music.
We also we have to take the first one we see. Now, unfortunately, as you're entering your answers, sometimes you'll see your answer pop up before someone else's. That doesn't mean you were first. It just means it loaded to your screen faster than what somebody else had sent.
And we will need your Telegram handle once we get that.
GSC is our winner.
Cool.
There we go. Send us your Telegram handle, and we will. So Dee will communicate with you.
Yeah, Telegram handle in here. Do it during. Yeah, send it over during the wrap, and I'll reach out and we'll get that over to you. GSC. Congratulations, man.
Yeah, congrats, bro. Yeah, let's go ahead and throw up the wrap.
Okay, I was waiting for no rain, no game, but here we go.
No rain, no game.
Perfect.
Came into the space chasing all of the games, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit right before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always make the time in mind. I take the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. Principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Why when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling the parabolic and dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, but time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, studying to know that nothing comes easy, but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this road could soon become a bear market. Learning and growing, and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time, the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort, cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go of the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes it time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough. And that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.